Welcome to Pensari Basketball's 2021 NBA redraft. I can't watch the Pistons suffer anymore. It's hard, man. They were up by 21 against the Boston Celtics and they still managed to lose that game somehow. And I believe that the only way to end this whoops, had myself on the other computer. That's going to be a nice little blooper reel there. I believe the only way to end the suffering for the Detroit Pistons is to build a time machine and to make a different decision than the one they did on that fateful day in 2021. Now, Bleacher Report released their version of the 2021 draft, in which their redraft has Scottie Barnes going number 1, Evan Mobley, Franz Wagner, Alperen Sengun, Cade Cunningham, Austin Reeves. You can tell my indignation on that one. Josh Giddey, Jalen Green, Trey Murphy III, Jalen Suggs, Jalen Johnson, Jonathan Kuminga, Herb Jones, and Cam Thomas. I did not like this. I did not like this redraft, and I complained so much about it. Someone said, hey, Rob, if you don't like it, make your own. Absolutely. So I've made a very creative effort to make a dynamic, interesting, with the bells and whistles redraft. And we're going to go through it. We're going to go 1 through 20. From 12 to 20, it's going to be kind of like not very bells and whistly. It's just going to be a screen, and I'm going to talk you through what I like about those players. But I think that this is the only way. Now, what breaks my heart is Scottie Barnes is not going to fall to 4 in my redraft, and that means the Raptors miss out on him. And I'm a Raptor fan, so obviously I am happy with the results of the original 2021 draft. But hey, this is a redraft for a reason, so we're going to get to it. First, let's look a quick look at the analytics profile of these players. Okay, so in terms of value of a replacement, which is a pretty good barometer for what we're going to be looking at today, Scottie Barnes, Evan Mobley, Alperen Sengun, indeed the top 3 players from this draft class on very different trajectories, though. Franz Wagner and Trey Murphy rounding out this list. You know, you got Cade Cunningham all the way at the bottom, number 14 right now. I don't think everything is about numbers. Clearly, we have to use our eye test. We have to project. We have to look at player types. We have to look at the situation these players are in. Cade is not in the same situation as Herb Jones. Herb Jones is, he's 22 years old coming into the draft. Austin Reeves was 23 coming into the redraft. Putting Austin Reeves right here at 7 is criminally insane. Or 6. My God, 6. They put him as high as they possibly could. These guys, they love to throw Austin Reeves into that conversation there. Very nice player. Very good player. Very difficult to compare a 26-year-old to a 22-year-old. I'll tell you that. So keep everything in mind. Player types, growth curve, athletic potential. If 2 players are even, does size decide? I think it should. Okay, first of all, let's give this video a like. I would super appreciate it. Also, I want to give a very, very small thank you to this community. Over the last 3 weeks, I've been tracking it. Some of you have heard about this last year. I made a goal for myself at the end of this year. I wanted the Toronto Raptors. I wanted Pensari Basketball Lives to be the #1 post-game show on the Toronto Raptors. Pushed for it. Never missed a single game. Did it. Rain, shine, sick. Well, not sick. Didn't matter. Did it every single time. Did my best. Lost my mind a couple times last year. Got mad at some guests. Got a little bit toxic. Got a little bit heated. Got a little bit negative. Tried to grow. Got better. Guess what? Over the last 3 weeks, you, this community, have made Pensari Basketball the #1 Toronto Raptors post-game live. I don't know if it will continue, but for 3 weeks, it's a win. I'll take it. We have the longest lives. We have the absolute longest lives. We have the most liked lives. We have the most super chatted lives. We have the most super stickered lives. We have the most frequently engaged lives. Yo, this is crazy. You guys are doing this. I'm not really doing this. I'm just here. I'm talking into a mic. But really, rain, shine, whether this team has been bad, whether the interest has been bad or good, you guys are here. I appreciate it. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It was a really important thing for me. It's really difficult to counter a media narrative if you're getting 800 views and they're getting 8,000 views. It's a 10 to 1. So to beat the Toronto Raptors own post-game live, And we don't got chicken wings. We don't got beer. We don't got 4 guys being paid to talk out their ass. We don't have any of that. Okay. The number of post-game live shows that there are for the Toronto Raptors is insane. This is a bigger media market. There are a lot of people who do this. And yeah, to get the most views out of all of that is absolutely humbling. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Let's do the redraft. Okay. This is gonna be cool format, I think. All right, maybe make myself small. And let's get that chatter. All right. So on the board are the Detroit Pistons, and the Detroit Pistons are really bad. That's how they got the number 1 overall pick. And they need everything, but more than anything, they really need a big playmaker. They really need this. They need a culture setter. They need a leader. They need a player who can grow. They really seem to fancy this Luka Doncic player type. They want a big wing guard who can table set their whole offense. They want a guy who's two-way. They want a guy who can drag the Pistons back. They want a guy who the Detroit fans can identify with. They want a superstar. As you should. You're drafting number 1. You should want a superstar. There's a lot of talk about Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green. These are the guys. These are the guys number 1. But you know what? I'm the Detroit Pistons. I'm Troy Weaver. And apparently, I've decided to go in a different direction. I am getting my Luka Doncic clone in with the first overall pick. The Detroit Pistons select Scottie Barnes out of Florida State University. This is a culture setter. This is a culture driver. There he is with his mom. There he is with his sister. There he is with his, with his best friend. There's Jalen Suggs. He's absolutely, happy for his boy, his friend, Scottie Barnes. There he is with Jason Simpson, high school teammates, best friends, brothers. It's awesome. It's awesome for Detroit. Detroit got the one. They loved Rasheed Wallace. They loved Isaiah Thomas. They got one. And guess what? This guy, he's never going to let you lose 26 straight. He's never going to let you lose 26 straight. He'll break the entire team's heads before they lose 10 straight. So you got one. All right, next up, we got the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets need a lot of stuff. And they could use Cade Cunningham. They could use Jalen Green. But you know what? Raphael Stone has apparently also grown a brain over this redraft. And he's going to go outside the box. Evan Mobley, he didn't want to work out for them. Scottie Barnes wasn't too keen on working out for them. Cade wasn't too keen on working out for them. Jalen Green did work out for them. But there's another guy that worked out for them. You know what? Every time the Houston Rockets have been good, they've had a big man. A really good big man. Man, they've had Hakeem. They've had Yao. They've had a lot of great bigs. And when I think of Ralph Sampson, I think of the Houston Rockets, I think center. I think of centers in this draft. I can think of 2 players. I think of Evan Mobley and I think of Alperen Şengün. Kid out of Turkey, youngest player in the draft. He's got a lot of potential. Does he look like a Nikola Jokic, like a Turkish Nikola Jokic? He's got the passing. He's got the playmaking. I worry about the defense with Alperen Şengün, so maybe I'm leaning more towards Evan Mobley here, to be honest. But where do I go? Everyone's saying Şengün. What do I do? Oh, man, with the second overall pick. Okay. With the second overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Houston Rockets select Alperen Şengün out of Turkey. All right. Alpi is happy. Alpi is hungry. Alpi is a tough dude. Alpi is a culture setter. He's a hard worker. And you know what? Houston Rockets, you got a great one here. Unfortunately for you, in this redraft, you get the same guy that you got in the first draft. So your steal turns into an obvious pick. Honestly, Alperen Şengün, pride of Turkey. He's a great young kid. He's hungry, man. This guy just wants to work. He wants to muscle. He wants to beat people. He's not scared of anybody. And this is a really talented kid. And you know what? I am very, very happy here. I'm just going to keep this up here. Thank you so much. JD saying smash the like it stole your bike. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. We appreciate realness. Appreciate that, man. All right. We got the third team. All right. And we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers. The last time they were good, they had LeBron James. LeBron James is a two-way guy. They could be looking for a two-way guy. I'm very tempted. Cade Cunningham right here looks very tempting. Is he a mini LeBron? Is he a miniature LeBron? Or do the turnovers really starting to worry me? You know, I don't know if he's got the passing. I mean, he's been in comfortable situations. I understand he's very advanced. Jalen Green could be electric. I need to sell tickets. You know, I'm a very cheap owner. I got a very cheap owner. I got a very impatient fan base. They're looking for something to get excited about. Jalen Green is box office. Cade Cunningham is box office. But I got to be real. Anthony Davis. Kristaps Porzingis. I'm thinking this player type is a very important player type. A guy who can shore up the back line of my defense. It would be very important here for me. But, man, guards sell shoes. Guards sell jerseys. I don't know if anyone's coming out to, you know, I might have liked Alperen Şengün and Scottie Barnes, but they are off the table. I'm confused. Where do I go here? I mean, what about Jalen Suggs? Franz Wagner? Okay, I got to do it. I got to go with the safe pick. I got to go with the right pick. I'm going to trust that the jump shot's going to come around with the number 3 pick.
With the third pick in the 2021 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Evan Mobley from the University of Southern California.
All right, Evan Mobley, a sober. First of all, thank you, Jonathan Convoy, for this super chat. Love it. Thank you so much for being part of this community and calling in as often as you have, sir. This live is very much for this community. I thought it would be a nice live, fun, engaging, and also big shout outs to Jason Watson, young man who called in, sent a touching DM today. The guy who's battling cancer. Yeah. Anyways, on to Evan Mobley for the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a great decision for the Cavs. I expect a lot of growth. You can expect this guy to anchor a defense, maybe be a future defensive player of the year candidate, maybe a guy who can sweep up that award. This is the direction the league is going. Switchable bigs, guys who can guard on the perimeter, switch, the hip mobility, the range. If the jump shot comes around, I think he's a smart player. Maybe he can be a passer too. All right, now we are firmly, the Toronto Raptors. Okay, the Toronto Raptors were in Tampa last year. They were bad, but they weren't this bad. They lucked in, they had the seventh best odds. They go to the 4th pick. They luck up. They move up in the draft. They were hoping, they were looking at Evan Mobley. Like they really wanted Evan Mobley. They explored options to trade up for him. They thought about Scottie Barnes. Those guys are off the table. Right now, I'm looking at Cade Cunningham. I got to go with Cade. Right? We got to go with Cade. Cade Cunningham is everything, right? Next to Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, you get a guy who can really, he can set the offense up. He can play off ball. He can play off of Fred. Kyle is potentially out of the way now, heading to potentially Miami, we're hearing. So, I mean, I could certainly see the case for Cade Cunningham or even Jalen Green. But, there is this other guy, German kid, Michigan, really interesting. Not as highly touted as those guys, but man, you can't teach size. And I'm hearing rumors, they could be wrong, but I'm hearing rumors that Cade's not really 6'8". And I'm hearing rumors that Jalen Green's not really 6'6". And while these inches matter a little bit, I think when you start talking about finishing talent at the rim, you start talking about openness, shot quality, I'm tempted. I might regret passing on Cade here, but I got to go with this. All right. With the 4th overall pick, the Toronto Raptors select Franz Wagner out of Germany via Michigan. All right. Tell us, Rob, what do we get in Franz Wagner? Well, you get a wonderful, hardworking young kid. His brother, Mo Wagner, first round pick a few years ago. This guy's got it in the bloodlines. He's got big playmaking potential. He can score on 3 levels. He's a competent-ish defender, right? but you just can't teach size at this level. And I could project this guy being a 3 to 4 time All-Star when it's all said and done. Does he have superstar potential? Probably not. Okay, so now we're on the Orlando Magic side. Okay, the Orlando Magic, they were really hoping Scottie Barnes was going to fall to them. Local kid. I mean, they really wanted Scottie, man. I tell you, don't ask me how I know, but I have some inside sources that were saying Orlando was all in on Scottie being there at 5. He goes off the board at 1. And the guy who was originally selected number 1 is right there for the taking. Do you do it? You need everything right now. You don't have a lot on this team. You know, you got Jonathan Isaac. He's going through some injury issues. I think you could use a guy who can just kind of stabilize your offense. Now, there's really 2 options that can go here. Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham. I mean, I would have loved Evan Mobley at number 5. Josh Giddey, is he there? Jonathan Kuminga. You know, long wings. They've been drafting long wings for a while, but how do you pass up on a talent like Cade Cunningham if he's there? Let's leave it to the chat. Chat, decide who we're gonna pick at number 5 for the Orlando Magic. Who do you guys think we should pick here? Theo Kendev saying Cade is going 2nd round. Well, I've heard some rumors that the host is a very, very big Cade Cunningham hater. Yikes. You know. All right. With the 5th overall pick in the NBA draft. With the 5th overall pick in the NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State. All right. Let us know, Rob, who did they get in Cade Cunningham? Cade Cunningham looks pretty sad, pretty depressed that he fell all the way to 5. He was always going to be the number 1 pick. He was the number 1 rated prospect in the class, and somehow he falls. There's some concerns here. I don't want to spend the whole time talking about the concerns. There's also some upside. Upside, 3-level scoring. You know, his outside shot looked good in college. Will it translate to the NBA? Good question. There's his brother right there. People speak very well of his maturity as a leader, his ability to work hard. He's got long arms. He projects pretty well as a defender, as a wing guy. He could be pretty switchable. 1 through maybe 3, 1 through maybe even 4. If he can get, he's pretty strong. So I think that they got a good one in Cade. All right. Now, number 6. All right. Where did the Oklahoma City Thunder, the team with everything and draft picks and assets and future assets, where did they go from here? Well, this is a team that really, under Sam Presti, has drafted extremely well. I would be very, very surprised to see them screw this up. And right now, I'm thinking Jalen Green. Where do we go from here? Josh Giddey? And Josh Giddey makes some sense here, right? Maybe we think outside the box a little bit, right? I mean, they picked Russell Westbrook 4th overall. He was not the 4th rated prospect in that draft. I mean, they went a little bit off the board there. This is a team that's not afraid to pick outside the box. Toronto 416 is very lost in life right now, saying J-Dub. Unless, of course, you mean somebody else. That's the wrong draft. Someone saying OKC's pick is Giddey still. Should it be? Let's see. All right. With the 6th overall pick. I got to stop timing that incorrectly. With the 6th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Trey Murphy III. Tell them what they got, Rob. You got a guy who could be in the 3-point contest. You got a guy who could be in the dunk contest. And you got a guy who could be an awesome 3-and-D player who has high impact metrics. How high are those impact metrics? Well, in the future, he will be 4th in value of a replacement. He will be a positive box plus minus guy, and he's got a lot of room to grow. So thank God he doesn't fall to 17 like he did in that other reality that we're not going to talk about right now. And he goes 6th overall. This is a big guy. He is a guy who can start for you pretty much on day 1 and not cost you minutes. And that's important because these rookie contracts are very valuable. Now, certainly Jalen Green cannot slide past 7. And I mean, we got to start thinking about Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, Jalen Johnson. There's a lot of Jalen's right now that are on the board, and they all got a lot of potential. What about Cam Thomas? Is this too early for Cam Thomas? Josh Giddey. My gosh, there's so many players. All right, where are we going here? Okay. With the 7th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors select Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga. Well, look, I've been a big Jalen Suggs hater, just to turn off the character and turn on the reality for a second. Look, I've been a really big hater of his. I think part of it was just because of Raptor fans going nuts for Jalen Suggs around the draft and me wanting to pick Scottie Barnes. But Jalen Suggs has turned his career around in a big way. He is a big guard. He's not a point guard necessarily. He's a combo guard. He's a guy who can defend at the rim. He's a guy who can defend on the perimeter. He is incredible defensively. He brings energy. And don't just scoff at that. If the jump shot ever comes around, he's only 22 years old. If the jump shot ever comes around, this is like a first team all defense guy with like actual defensive upside. The upside is very clearly Drew Holiday type. Will it ever get to that level? I don't know. But Drew Holiday mixed with Josh Hart, mixed with Derek White. Like, think that type of player. Those are the players. They're very important. Okay. Where are we at here? With the 8th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Jalen Johnson out of Duke. All right, talking about size, a 6'9.5" to 6'10" fluid athlete with decent wingspan, an evolving jump shot that will absolutely in the future evolve as it has this year for the Atlanta Hawks. You just don't pass up on size and skill like this, okay? And clearly he has the work ethic to get from where he was to where he's at. Hindsight is 2020, but Jalen Johnson absolutely should have been a top 10 pick in this draft. Prior to being injured this year, he probably was a top 5 guy for most improved player. He's a really, really decent one. Why did he fall to 20? Probably interviews. Maybe people didn't trust the tape. Maybe people didn't trust the analytics. Whatever it is, he wouldn't go 20 this time around. All right. The Sacramento Kings fucked up this draft really badly. Are they going to do it again? Not on my watch. With the 9th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings pick another old guy, Herb Jones, out of Alabama. And let me tell you something. They picked a 23-year-old, okay, the last time in Davion Mitchell. They pick a 22-year-old this time. They want winning right now, but this time they actually get a guy who's going to impact winning in a massive, massive way. Okay, yes, a lot of people like to sleep on upperclassmen. Yes, people like to sleep on guys with questionable jump shots, but I know what I know. And when I know, I know. Okay, so I'm telling you, the future is very kind to the Sacramento Kings because their entire future just got a whole lot brighter with Herb Jones shoring the one thing they don't have on their team right now, which is a competent freaking defender. Keegan Murray has come a long way in the future draft, but they get one here who's really good. All right, where are we going? With the 10th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Cam Thomas out of LSU. All right. When we say bucket, we mean bucket. And when we say bucket, we mean Cam Thomas. This is a guy who can score 40 points, 35 points, 50 points. He's a heat check guy. He doesn't do a lot else. He doesn't do a whole lot else. Defense, optional. Rebounding, optional. Playmaking, optional. But if you want a guy who is a surefire NBA player for 13 years, is going to put up stacks of points on a pretty good level, good efficiency, 3-level scoring, and put a lot of pressure on the rim, put pressure on the defense, and scare some people, Cam Thomas is your guy. Jalen Green, not so much. Okay? So I think this is a good pick. And honestly, if you go back and check who they actually picked at 10, this is a massive, massive improvement. Okay, the pick is in. I'm getting anxious. Where are we going? Okay, With the 11th pick in the 2021 NBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Josh Giddey out of Australia. Questionable jump shot, but unquestionable talent. Just a really, really smart basketball player with excellent what we call feel for the game. Okay. He's got he's just got tremendous size for his position. He really is a pure point guard. He handles the ball on a string. He is somebody who just genuinely understands the game of basketball at a very high level for someone his age. Defense is a very, very big question mark. He doesn't have the longest arms to compensate for it. He doesn't have great lateral quickness, but big playmakers are the thing in the NBA, and he is the biggest playmaker other than Scottie Barnes in this draft. Now, going into picks 12 to 20, let's just quickly go into this. So with 12, I go Austin Reeves. I think this is about as high as I can go with Austin Reeves. Look, he is still considerably older than the rest of the players. He's playing with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. So before you jump on your Austin Reeves is him, Austin Reeves should get a max contract, y'all crazy. Okay, just watch the games. He's good. He's a very talented player and honestly very skilled and very hardworking. And he's got a lot of charisma and he comes up in big moments. But do not undersell defense. Don't undersell age, potential, all that stuff. It's really difficult to gauge a player like this. So I think he's been really solid. And incredibly he shot poorly to start this year, but he shot incredibly last year, shot really well in the playoffs. I think there's a lot of reasons why he would go top 14 and be a lottery pick. Certainly he's shown more so far than Moses Moody and James Bouknight and a lot of guys who were picked top 14. Not that those guys would be, really picked like in the top 25 if we did a redraft. 13, Jonathan Kuminga. Again, year 3 is really the year for me where it's really difficult if for 3 years straight you don't flash positive impact on the basketball court. It's very, very unlikely that you ever turn it around at that point. It's not unheard of. There are guys who come through in year 4. I believe Jaylen Brown was a good example of a guy who really took off in year 4. But we saw a lot more from Jaylen Brown, by year 3 than we have from Jonathan Kuminga. I think this is a firm floor for him, 13. There was a lot of talk of him going top 3, top 4 in this draft. A lot, believe it or not. And then, teams worked him out and, a lot of that talk died down, as it should. Number 14, Jalen Green. It's about as far as I can let him fall as well. There's still a lot of talent there. There's still a lot of upside, theoretical or otherwise. I think his defense has been better this year. I just think that the scoring is a little bit overblown. It's a lot of volume stuff. It was a lot of, athleticism at a younger age. Not the first player to do this. There's tons of guys who were just too athletic, too skilled at a youth level, and they just didn't work out in the NBA. He is a prototype of tons of guys who were like this. I mean, OJ Mayo, there's DeJuan Wagner. There's tons of guys who at the prep level dominated, but then as the game advanced, they couldn't adjust. They couldn't see themselves as a role player. Honestly, at this point, if he were to adjust his thinking to a Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford type of role, his career could totally blossom. He's not really buying into that type of role. He's getting benched in fourth quarters. It's yet to be seen if humility will take the key or whatever. But I don't love his size at the position. He doesn't defend particularly well. He doesn't pass particularly well. So yeah, as much as I like the scoring upside and potential, and you know what? One thing is, this might be a second team candidate. This might be a guy who could really, really, really do something different than he's shown in Houston for someone else. I think he might be that guy. And this is a big reason why I think the Toronto Raptors should take a swing at him if he's available, if the Houston Rockets make him available. I think this is one player you should target. There's a lot of reasons for that. There's a ton of reasons for that. But namely, it's talent. The talent is still inherently there. The athleticism, the quickness, the burst, it's all still there. It's just thinking the game, processing the game, understanding your role, understanding your limitations, maybe the coaching, these early years, they don't come back 19 to 21. Has he really been coached properly in the G League Ignite? And then 2 years with Steven Silas. Is this the guy who needs a great coach and a great team to give him that second breath? If there's any player that I can think of in the league that needs this, it's him. He can do it. I still have faith, but he's going 14 in this draft because there's still a lot of guys who are pretty talented on the board. 15, Santi Aldama. Really, I look at trackable, consistent growth. And I think Santi Aldama. There's no hicks. There's no hitches. Last 4 years, like clockwork. Better, 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 better. And look, man, he's a big who can shoot. And he shoots on high volume. And I like that. And he's productive. And I like that too. And he's playing on a really bad team right now. So maybe people aren't talking about it, but good enough. Number 16, Moses Moody, flashing some life right now. Quentin Grimes, 17, not flashing a lot of life, but has shown a lot last year. Honestly, there's not a lot left in this draft. 18, Day'Ron Sharpe. Love him. Loved his potential. And again, another guy that if the Raptors were to make a trade, this is one guy I would want included back with the Brooklyn Nets. Really like him. Number 19, Jericho Sims. I'm not thrilled with him, but you know, he might be what the doctor ordered in New York based on Mitchell Robinson's injury. He's also currently injured right now, or is he not playing, or you know, is he back? And number 20, Bones Highland. I mean, honestly, I was grasping at straws. There's probably somebody better than Bones Highland here. But again, going with the scoring, quick twitch guard, I went with Bones. Honestly, if I really, really think about it, there's probably someone in the undrafted heap that was better. But I was struggling. Someone's saying Charles Bassey over Sims. Maybe. I haven't watched enough Charles Bassey. Only 16 likes. Come on, guys. Yes, please. Who hit that like button? Okay, now let's talk about the Toronto Raptors for a bit. This is 30 minutes into the live. We got the draft done in 30 minutes. Yes. This is the fastest content ever. Okay. No, it's not. There was plenty of pre-ramble there. Preamble. Ramble. Okay. I'm staggering. Okay. So what's going on with me? I'm stalling. Not staggering. I'm not staggering. Okay. Let's talk about the Raptors. So I just watched the Pistons versus the Celtics, and I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, I'm worried. I am really worried, and I thought I wasn't going to be worried, but man, the Pistons were blowing the shit out of the Celtics, and they somehow came back and lost it. I don't know how they lost it. I really don't. And Jason Tatum gave him every chance in the world. But, they were guarding Kristaps Porzingis 8 feet from the basket with Bogdanovich and Cade Cunningham. What are you expecting to happen to you? I understand people who say this is on coaching, but then it's like, well, what can you do? Can you put James Wiseman on the floor? Could you trust them? Could you put Marvin Bagley on the floor? Jalen Duren tried his hardest, man. Jaden Ivey tried their hardest. I mean, wow. I think the whole world was watching that game. Like, there's no way this is going to happen. You know how bad it is? The Pistons were up 6 in the fourth quarter, and I'm like, there's no way the Celtics are losing this game. If they were up in overtime, and I'm like, there's no way they're going to lose this game. Jason Tatum was playing like the worst game I think I've seen him play in a very long time, and I was like, there's no way they're going to lose this game. It's just not possible. It's like, but what's making me a little bit anxious right now is that the Pistons are not 27 straight losses bad. You see the talent on that team? They're not this bad, bro. There's no way in hell this team should have lost 27 straight. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances. A lot of it is mental, but there's no way in hell the Pistons are 27 losses. And if you accurately made this roster in 2K, this team would not be, it's not even possible for this team to lose 12 straight, much less 26, 27 straight. It's not possible. This is honestly, it's a self-undoing, unraveling, and they're close. They're close in every one of these games. They're leading by massive digits in every one of these games. So it's not like, okay, fair enough. Maybe the other team is letting them. This is a thing in basketball for sure. I mean, I've seen players talk about it on podcasts where, you're playing a bad team, you kind of chill for about 2.5 quarters, and then you turn it on in the third. I know it happens. There are certain teams where you just let them kind of hang around. They throw their punch. They get a little bit tired, and then you just coast. You just coast to the victory line by turning up the defense a little bit, and you watch them self-implode. And this is how upsets happen in the NBA. You take your opponent a little bit lightly. No one is coming out and trying to beat the Detroit Pistons like they are the 96 Chicago Bulls. I get that. I understand that. Yes, they are. I understand this argument too. They literally are that bad, though. Yes, they literally are that bad. But they're not bad. It's hard to explain, man. It's hard to explain. If you put this team up against the teams that they are in a conversation with, the talent alone it's crazy. There's like 3 players on the Pistons that would be like the best player on that, the tanking Philadelphia 76ers team. Like, I mean, the talent level is alone insane. I mean, I'm not even trying to rate Cade or Asar or Jaden Ivey or Jalen Duren. Like, but these are NBA players. I went through it in yesterday's live. How many players on the Pistons would play rotational minutes to the Raptors? We got to 8. There's like 8 players on this team that would play rotation minutes for the Raptors. I'm not saying that the Raptors are the holy beacon of good NBA players, but I mean, how many players in the Pistons would play rotation minutes for the Lakers right now? Probably 6 or 7, maybe 8. There's guys, man. There's guys. It's not just a team full of G Leaguers. There's actual talent on this team, and you're seeing it. You're seeing it. They're in these games. They're competitive. They're beating, Brooklyn. They're beating Boston at home, a team that's 14-0. So I was looking at my girlfriend. I'm like, man, the Raptors are screwed. The Raptors are screwed. Because if the Pistons win, which they didn't, the Celtics are going to come out and smoke us by 50 tomorrow. And if the Pistons lose, which they did, they now have the confidence to know. I mean, I wonder what that plane ride is going to be like. Yo, we were up by like 10 points in the fourth quarter, 8 points in the fourth quarter against the Boston Celtics at home. We could kill the Raptors. That's what I would be saying if I was the Pistons. I wonder what the Pistons are saying as the Pistons, but that's what I would be saying as the Detroit Pistons. Yo, this is our home court. We are not going to let the Toronto Raptors come in. I don't think the Raptors are ready for the type of fight that the Pistons are about to take to them. But it is going to be insane. Like, I think the world should watch that game. And here's the thing. I really don't want the Raptors to lose that game, because if you lose that game, you lose so much more than just that game. You don't understand. Like, certain games are worth more than other games. The games that people watch, like the old question: if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, does it make a sound? Honestly, I'm 36 years old. I can finally conclusively tell you, no, it doesn't. Okay, that's my answer. After 36 years of pondering this, no, it doesn't. So if you make an ass of yourself, it's everyone's watching. I promise you. I turn on the television. I'm like, I wonder if the Pistons are on. Yeah, the Pistons are on in Canada. They're on in Sacramento. Everyone's watching. So you better believe their next game against the Toronto Raptors, for the record, for the all-time record, this is going to be so box office. Everyone's mother is going to be watching it. You want to watch the worst team in the league ever? You want to watch the worst team in NBA history ever? And if you lose to that team, oh my God, the impact that it would have on Scottie Barnes' all-star chances, on your season, on Darko Rajakovic, the media shitstorm that would persist for the next few days going into your New Year's game against the Cavaliers. And of course, the Cavaliers are playing well without Evan Mobley and without Darius Garland. I think they're 5-1 without those guys. Last I checked, they might be better now or worse. And you could lose that game too. And I mean, now where are you at? You just made a change in your starting lineup, long overdue, and you lose to the Pistons and the Cavs without this. Dennis Schroeder's going to come back in the starting lineup, bro. Whew. You mean like the Jazz loss? Don't know what you mean. I'm not sure. The Jazz lose to a lot of teams. The Raptors lost to the Jazz and the Pistons lost to the Jazz. I feel like the Pistons loss to the Jazz was worse since the players who didn't play. I feel like the Raptors loss to the Jazz wasn't as bad. It was pretty bad, but it wasn't as bad. Um, I'm just saying, I think Cade and Duran present a lot of problems. I think Ivy presents a lot of problems. There's a lot of guys on this team that present a lot of problems for a team that isn't clicking very well defensively right now. Now, as much as I want to believe that Pascal Siakam and Scottie Barnes are just simply too good to lose to the Detroit Pistons, I don't actually believe that they are. I believe that this team is very capable of losing to the Pistons. And as much as I was very, very excited yesterday about the lineup change, and I'm like, oh, there's no way they're going to lose to the Pistons now that they made this lineup change. I actually think there's a very, very strong possibility that the Pistons would just, I mean, have you ever seen have you ever seen a dog trying to protect its young? Have you seen a mother try to lift lift a car off of its baby? Like, yo, do not underestimate a wounded animal, an animal who's cornered. The Pistons are cornered. Nobody wants to become the worst team in NBA history, and nobody wants to lose to the worst team in NBA history. They're already, I mean, regardless of whether they take this record or not, they're the only team in the league, in league history, who's lost 28 straight in a single season. They just did it tonight. The previous record, I believe, was 25 or 26. So they already cleared that. They're going for the multi-season record right now. Multi-season. This team has found very unique ways to lose. Yep. But do not underestimate how talented this team is, because I'm telling you right now, as someone who I watch a lot of basketball, man. And when I say the Pistons are not that bad, I'm telling you the Pistons are not that bad. There's no team in the league that is this bad right now. No. There's no team in the league that you, as the Toronto Raptors, or even the Indiana Pacers, Chicago Bulls, there's all these teams. There's no team that you will 100% or even 95% of the time beat. The Pistons are not 95% win for like all these teams. They're a 95% win for the team that they almost beat tonight. This is a scary, scary. Yeah, I agree. Look, man, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duran, Cade Cunningham. This is a very, very difficult set of players to match up for. I know it sounds crazy. I know I'm being doom and gloom. I'm sorry. Maybe you don't want to hear this. I'm just telling you, this is a very scary matchup for the Toronto Raptors. This is not shade on the Raptors. This is not shade on the Pistons. This is not beefing up the Pistons. I'm just telling you, the Raptors are a poor road team. They're a team that plays down to their competition, and they're facing a team that has a lot of, they're facing a team with players that create a lot of issues. So if they have a big shooting night, this is going to be a loss. And I don't think Raptors Nation is prepared for what that loss will lead to or what it could feel like. AC saying, I hope Raptors lose. Why? Why would you ever want the Raptors to lose, bro? This is not something like... What? Saw some reports of Siakam extension. Are you kidding right now? Are you saying Pascal has been extended? Am I finding out about this live right now? Hang on. Let's check. No. He's trolling. Yeah, I did just Google it. He has not been extended right now. All right. Anyways, thank y'all for watching this NBA redraft. When this video goes live, I would very much appreciate two things. Actually three things. I'm asking for a lot. I apologize. Number one, please vote for Scottie Barnes for the NBA All-Star game. It's vote.nba.com. Please do not vote for other forwards who have a chance to make it within this election. If you want to be safe, just vote Scottie. I have been voting Scottie, Coloco, Grady, and OG, and that's it for the East, and Kyle. So and then I vote Shea, Nikola Jokic, KD, Kawhi in the West. That's been my all-star vote all year. Hey Jason, hope you feel better, man. Thanks a lot. That's number one. Number two, please like this video or subscribe. One or the other, ideally both. And third, if you could, when this video goes live in less than a minute, if you want to comment down below and let me know what your redraft would be from 1 to 14. That would be really cool too. All right. Thanks a lot, Jason, man. Appreciate it. Okay. Christopher Chu saying you can tell from their eyes tonight they believe they can win games. Bogdanovich made some bad decisions from threes. Whew. Vegan grass. Yes, he was. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great one. Have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. I will see y'all tomorrow for the Celtics game. I'm looking forward to it. If Jaylen Brown misses another one, could we be the first team to beat the Boston Celtics on the road? That would be awesome. They clearly play down to their competition too, given how they played the Detroit Pistons tonight. Maybe this is the kind of game that puts you on red alert if you're the Celtics and you come out and smoke the other team. I hope that's not what happens to us. But yeah, I mean, the next two nights are going to be very interesting going into the new year. There are 3 more games. Well, actually, there are 2 more games this year, and then the third one in the Cavs. I was actually thinking of something today. I would be very, very interested in the next home game about potentially going down to Scotiabank Arena with a camera and doing some post-game, not interviews, but interviews with fans coming out, just getting a different feel for it and doing the live that way. I think that would be really cool. I don't know if I'm going to do it on January 1st, depending on the weather, but at some point this year, I really want to do that. I want to do that at least once. I think it'd be really cool. It'd be a little change of pace. But yeah, again, thank you all for making Pensar Basketball Lives the #1 Raptors post-game show. I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning into this one. Impromptu at midnight. We had 150 people in here. That's crazy too. Thank you so much. Good night, guys.